Hi, and welcome back to the Stop Bending Over podcast, Align Your Life for Radical Success. I'm your host, Rita Mendez. Today's episode is all about how do you know if you're ready for a bigger life? So let's get real. A lot of us say we want more success, more money, more peace, more freedom. And underneath that, though, there's hesitation, right? There's doubt, there's fear disguised as logic. There's all kinds of shit happening in the background. And when we don't get what we want, I will say that we resign ourselves for that push-pull inside of us to be normalized, meaning we want something and we don't achieve it despite our best efforts. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. And so we've become accustomed to actually not trusting ourselves, not making the move when we want to make a move, something different. And, here's the thing is when we don't trust ourselves, it's really, really fucking challenging to get what you want because you're constantly second guessing yourself. And what that does, and today, I'm going to take a little aside before I say that. Well, yes, I will. I've got a lot of things that I want to share with you guys today. I don't normally take a ton of notes and bring them to the podcast. I just share from my heart, from what I've seen, from what I've been coaching on. And I get a lot of inspiration for the subjects from clients and from coaching because I hear similar things all the time. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to bring this to everyone that wants to hear this and wants to learn or grow from it so that, this is part of my ministry is to really transform consciousness of the planet. And this is how I do it. So today and the other day, I've been traveling quite a bit this last week. And so I wrote a bunch of stuff on the plane. And so I've got all these little kind of haphazard notes in front of me, and I'm going to share some different things with you. So let's circle back to the trust part. I wrote something down that's so true, and I said, fear is so boring. Nothing exciting is going to happen to you when you're in fear. So fucking true. Fear is boring. Let's not be boring. Let's be allergic to boring. Let's be allergic to mediocrity. You want to take some downtime. That's not being bored. That's being chill. That's relaxing. That's being still. That's being grounded. That's being in nature, whatever that means for you. But actually boring is doing the same shit over and over and expecting a different result. They say that's insanity. That's boring. That's boring because inside of us, we're fed up with the part of us that's running that pattern. And then we're not willing to step in and do whatever it takes to shift it. And it doesn't take much. So that's what we're going to talk about. Fear disguises itself as logic, story, limiting beliefs, all the things. And really, to me, there's in A Course in Miracles, and I know I've said it on the podcast before, it's a book. It's called A Course in Miracles, written by no one, which is really cool. And in there, it says there's only two emotions, love and fear. So if you put these two emotions on a board at the top of the board, love on one side and fear on the other, what can you write under love? All the meanings, but what can you write under fear? Fear is going to disguise itself in all kinds of ways, right? We've got frustration, anger. Not saying that frustration and anger are bad. I'm just saying under fear, hesitation, waiting. And then what happens? All these things fall under fear. Not moving, not taking action. Under love, what is it? Under love, what is it? It's just loving, constantly loving, unconditional loving, stepping in, making a move, trying something out, course correcting, all the while loving myself. I'm aware, wow, that didn't work. I'm accepting that it didn't work. I don't like it. And I'm going to move forward anyway. Aligned action. 1, 2, 3. Awareness, acceptance without judgment, aligned action. So under love, you're free. So everyone says, oh, I want, when I do like especially deep immersive processes on people, one of the number one things that comes up is, what do you want? Freedom. Love equals freedom. Fear equals prison. Fear equals mediocrity. Fear equals upset. Fear equals fill in the blank, everything that you don't want. Yet we're addicted to it. We're doubling down on it like it's the only thing that fucking exists. So I wrote an email, excuse me. I've been real allergy lately, and I don't really have allergies, but I guess somebody outside either of the God nature or of the bee pollen nature. Not that bees make pollen, but maybe they spread it around. I have a lot of bees in my backyard. They're very cute. They're bumblebee bees. And I have been snarfleupagus for about like almost a month. So if any of you know whatever is blooming right now or pollinating in California, let me know, because the Zyrtec is not really working. So when we come back to what does it mean to have this bigger life, I just wrote an email that talked about Dead Man's Island and Fantasy Island. And which one are we choosing? Well, most of the time you're choosing to live on Dead Man's Island, which is, there's two things. One of the things I learned in my master's program all those years ago, which was, for new listeners, I have a master's in spiritual psychology. So it's a master's degree in psychology. On top of that, experientially, we learn all the principles and practices of what it means to live in alignment spiritually. So it was a lot of work. Let me just say that. And that is why I bring this to you guys, because most people will never do that kind of work. So it's my responsibility to share it with the world. We have lots of fantasies, many of them negative, and which is the fear side. But what about Fantasy Island? So there's Dead Man's Island and Fantasy Island. Just listening to it, the words, which one would you rather live on? Like, I'm going to pick, I got to tell you, I would be curious what's on Dead Man's Island, but then I'd get off of it really, really quick to go live in the Fantasy Island part. Because on Fantasy Island, what we make it out is that it's a fantasy because we live on Dead Man's Island with all the excuses and evidence for my life and my circumstances, I'm putting that in air quotes, and justifications for, let me just tell you my story. Do you know how many people want to tell me their story? And then I put my hand up gently and I just say, no, okay, no. And they want to keep talking. I don't need to hear your story. Do you know why? Because it's a story. There's truth in the root of that story, but everything else is the part of you that's addicted to the story that lives on Dead Man's Island. Is it getting you where you want to go? Is it bringing more love, more money, more success, more people, more clients, more abundance, more peace, more freedom to you? And if it's not, you're on the wrong island. So let's just identify that right now, right? So I'm not saying that wanting a bigger life means just money and success. That is not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is whatever it is for you, what is a bigger life for you? Is it a creative project? When you deny yourself being creative in any capacity, you are cutting off your life flow energy. That's my personal take on it. I don't care if it's drawing with a pencil, sewing, walking in nature, building parts of your business that you love, whatever it means for you. Maybe it means more ease, more ownership, more truth, better relationships, more communication, whatever that is. And it can be more money. Get rich as fuck. Let's get rich as fuck, please. And then you have more power in certain areas when you do have money or riches or wealth, whatever you want to call it, and you have more freedom and you have more power in certain areas. So, saying that, what does it mean to have a bigger life? It means a lot less of the stuff that you've been clinging to, less overworking, less proving, less pretending to be someone you're not. It's not always about doing more. It's about being different. It's about an identity shift. It's about being more of who you actually are. Let's talk about the part we don't, like to admit. And that is what I will call the waiting, the patience. We wait and we pause and we stall and we make excuses and we don't do what we say we want to do. Why are we waiting? And what are you waiting for? And there's times when we are waiting in life. What can you do while you're waiting? Underneath a lot of the waiting is the excuses, like I was saying. It is the brain really and the mind controlling to keep things familiar, not really different, not moving in the direction that you say you want because there's a lot of threat happening. So I'm going to share a little story with you. So, my group is grouping right now. We're starting month 3, which is the money month, which is super cool. And so a little aside for that is that late August, I put August, but it'll probably be September. I'm doing a money mastermind. So it's a 4-week sprint to lift your money spirits. Let's get your energy up. And that is a paid for group. It is not a free group. Here's the thing about it is that the other day I got a message. We have a shared Voxer in our group for all the ladies that are in there. and someone posted about how to say no to people now that she's not a people pleaser anymore. When we want to be different, so this is part of having a bigger life, when we want anything different than what we are experiencing right now, what we're experiencing, we create our experiences, right? We co-create those. And so when we want a different experience, she was trying to kind of plan out how to say no to peers when they asked her to do things that she normally would say yes to, because she's been a yes woman, people pleaser for so long. And here's the thing about people pleasers is underneath the people pleasing, there's frustration. I've never met a people pleaser that underneath that, at the root, maybe mostly unconsciously, some conscious of it, that they're fucking frustrated because no one wants to say yes to everything. That is a codependent trait of rescuing, and how we get our needs met as rescuers, as codependent type behaviors, is that we meet other people's needs. And so when we have a high need to be approved of, which is one of the codependent behaviors, we go around doing shit for people that either A, they didn't ask us to do, or B, we say yes to things that we didn't want to say yes to. And then we externalize it and turn it out on them instead of taking responsibility for our own shit. Like, wow, I just said yes to something I actually don't want to do. What we do is we then point our finger. It's the opposite of taking responsibility and saying, oh my God, I had to say yes, because if I don't, then Becky is going to be pissed. And oh my God, when she gets pissed, she is, oh, you guys do not know what a booch she could be. So do you see, Valley Girl, you can see that that pattern keeps it alive, because really underneath that means I'm afraid to say no because I don't want people to be upset with me. I need to be in my group or in my peer group or in my family. I don't want to be ostracized. I mean, this goes back eons to biology and to both, is that we don't want to be ostracized from the group. We want to belong. People, humans need companionship. We're tribal beings. And so she put in this pretty long post, explaining that she doesn't know how to say no. And then in the post, she kind of goes on this little piece about, this is for me. I don't need to say no. I was a people pleaser before. But in the post, it was all typed. It wasn't, an audio. It was typed. What I got was the energetic hit of negativity. There was a negative energy attached to it and a frustration. And I thought, oh, okay. So what I did was I hopped on and gave them an audio coaching. And here's what I said: because when we have an identity shift, when we're moving into a new way of being, when we're wanting a different experience, and we're noticing the parts that have been showing up with these behaviors that we're moving away from and into a new way of being, that part of us, which is a young part, and once you're past like 30 years old, think about how long that part of you, that unconscious, subconscious behaviors have been running. A long time. You're not 12. You're 35, 45, 55, 65 years old. That part's been running this pattern for a long time. So when you go to shift, it gets really threatened, and it starts doing what I just said, getting frustrated and angry, because it's fear. It's afraid to do something different. It's afraid to say no for the first time, or without anger. I will say that, without anger. So what I coached her on and gave everyone this coaching was that I noticed this negative thread of energy, and that when we go to shift into a new way of being and saying no, we can say it with love, like, no, thank you. Thank you for inviting me, whatever it is. No, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet for you to think of me. You don't have to say, oh, I'm busy, when it's not true. You can just say, wow, thank you. That is so sweet. Thank you for thinking of me. That's it. I'm not going. You could still say no in a loving way. The only reason the anger comes in is because you're just not used to doing it yet with the loving. So as soon as you go and you notice that you're triggered on the inside from the part of you that's scared to move forward, this is for everything that you do in life, especially when you want this bigger life. And a bigger life means better, meaning more calm, more peace, more communication, more loving, more healing, whatever that looks like for you. When you talk to yourself first and settle and calm and ground your nervous system like, hey, I got you. In the beginning of doing this work years and years ago, it was always a 4-year-old inside of me, like that would just get this energetic knowing that it was like a 4-year-old part. I don't know how. That's just how it happened. And so it was very young, very fearful, it's a child, right? A 4-year-old I have a 4-year-old grandson. He's a baby that runs around and wreaks havoc and eats dirt. And, they're still babies. They're toddlers. And so what I would do is I would press my hand over my heart on my chest really hard to get me out of the mind so much and into the body temple somatically. And I would say, hey, I got you. I'm here now. I'm an adult. I'm speaking about me, this conscious, resourced woman, the adult. I've got you. Nothing bad is going to happen, because that is when I can first remember, some really abusive incidences is when it started. Could have started before that, but I didn't have any memory of it yet. So what I would do is I would do that and say, I got you. And I would imagine putting this little dark-haired cutie pie on my hip. And she always had this little white dress on. And I would say, I got you. And we're going to go and we're going to get this done anyway. And that is how I did it. I stepped in even though I was afraid. But what I did was I held for myself first. So that way I didn't project the fear, anger, which is, think about what I told you, on the left is love, on the right is fear, and all the things that fall under fear, anger, all the frustration. And instead of projecting the fear outwardly as anger projected onto somebody else, I took care of my internal house and the parts of me that were really scared so I could walk free. My prayer to God for years has been, God, I lay this burden at your feet and I walk free. How do we walk free from anything is? We take care of our internal house. We take care of our body temple. The body keeps the score. Your body has memory. Think about that. It's fucking cool. We are so amazing as humans. So just like it has memory for what's happened bad, it also houses your soul, your everything, your mind, your brain, everything that you need to have everything that you want. Just as much as it will hold old stuff, it also will propel you and hold for you in the present and moving forward. So I said this message right in this Voxer group, and I put it in there and said, my suggestion is, and I said just what I just said to you guys, is that you hold for the young part of yourself where this is rooted in, and it can even be before you're born, because generations of codependent, especially, men as well, but especially women. We are the nurturers, we're the rescuers, we're the doers of the family, and all these eons of generations. We've got that in the collective consciousness of women. We have this piece about being this codependent, taking care of. And I'm not saying taking care of people is a bad thing. It can be the root cause of anything that you have in your consciousness can also be before you're born as generational baggage, collective consciousness of women, whatever culture, whatever race you're in. That's how it goes. Once you're in someone else's experience ever, it's part of your experience. And so you get to clear for that. Inside of yourself, you cannot do anything about the other person. This is just for you. It's a for you type of thing. So this is where your personal transformational work comes in, is that when something happens, not if, when something challenging happens and you're moving towards this bigger life, then you get to hold for yourself. When you notice you're doing a pattern, I'm going to give you 3 things right here. 3 signs you're ready for the bigger life. When you're noticing a pattern, I'll do that in a minute. But when you're noticing a pattern that you're in, because people are like, I don't know. I keep doing the same thing. Slow way down, because they come to me with frustration, but slow down and get out just a plain fucking piece of paper and a pen or a pencil and write down what the pattern is. Do you know that most people will not take the time, a minute, 2, 5 max? I do this all the time with groups, in person, in workshops. Doesn't even take probably 3 minutes. You write down what the upset is. I keep doing this and I'm broke, or I don't know why I'm so frustrated. I have one-on-one clients that came to me to increase revenue. It's real estate agents. And I've been working with her and she's fucking crushing it now. One of the things was, I don't know why. So that's how she started off. I don't know why that I can't increase my sales. I don't know why. I just am frustrated. So right there, the energy is resistance. So there's something underneath that. Write it down. I don't know why I can't increase my sales. Great. Big breath. And then you start to hold awareness. Remember, 3 steps, always awareness, acceptance without judgment, aligned action. Awareness. I don't know why. Great. If I did know why, what would it be? Then you write, that's what I asked her. Oh, well, I've had 2 people do this. 1 person in my family passed away. This happened. My husband, that. Okay. All of a sudden, she knows exactly why, but we get stuck inside of ourselves. This means you get to slow down, put it on paper. Your paper can be your therapist. Write it out. Okay, this is why. Okay, well, is there one thing I can do different than I normally do? Is there something I could do differently? Is there some way I can? So now you're moving from the drama triangle into the empowered way of being, of co-creating with God, co-creating with spirit, of how to be with your challenge rather than looking externally to blame or internally and turning it into negative internal dialogue. Here's what I will say. When a lot of shit hits the fan and we're challenged, and we do this through the drama triangle, blaming, complaining, gossiping, turning the bully stick on ourselves. When you hit your self-esteem like that, it tanks. Your confidence goes down. It is a shitty place to be. Don't let experiences tank your dreams. This is a you process, and you are the one in the driver's seat. You are worth all the riches in the world, all of them and more. Give yourself the grace to spend a few minutes with yourself to really identify where you're getting sideways. And if you need support from there, there's plenty of places you can get support. You start off with supporting yourself. So these patterns, when you notice, you write that down, you're like, oh my God, I'm in a fucking pattern. But the discomfort of moving away from the pattern, moving into the unknown, is worse than staying in the shitty pattern. That's why people don't slow down long enough to identify it. Because once you identify it, you can move into acceptance, like, wow, I'm in it and I don't know what to do about it yet. And I fucking don't like it. Great. Love it when people are pissed when they're in it. As long as you're not using the beat up stick on you, then you can move into aligned action. You're like, okay, I don't love it. I'm really pissed and I get it. I have been in a shitstorm and I've been believing all the crap going through my head. And now I'm going to move out of that. Great. Perfect. What's your next step? What's the smallest step you can take? This is where your mindset, and that's not all mindset. There's a lot of stuff that I just talked about, somatic work, all the things, but simple. You can do all this yourself. This is where this work, the mindset work, the personal work comes in and becomes, and it's a must to me. It's a non-negotiable. When you have a non-negotiable pillar, like my mindset, my faith, my values, what I'm willing to tolerate, my standards, and they're non-negotiables, your life will shift. It has to. There's no other way for it to happen. There's no other way. I mean, there's nowhere else for you to go but to shift up a rung on the spiritual ladder. And that's what we're looking for, because as you move up the soul line, the goal line of all the things that you want starts to come to you. That's the fantasy island part. The fucking dead man's island is staying in it, mired in the same thoughts, repetitive, blaming, hating, whatever you're doing or have been doing up until now. My invitation is not choosing the struggle over the unknown joy. That's my invitation to you. Choose the joy. Even though you don't know what it looks like yet, you can feel it. You know what it feels like. You know the feeling you want. And give yourself the grace. Let yourself off the hook from Dead Man's Island and paddle your little boat over to Fantasy Island. I'm going to tell you, it's less populated and it's fucking really nice. We have a lot of fun on Fantasy Island. So let's do 3 signs you're ready for a bigger life. 1, you're uncomfortable with the version of you that's been playing and staying really small. You're uncomfortable. You're annoyed. You're frustrated, whatever. You're bitter. You're angry, whatever it is. I want you to notice and ask yourself the question right now. Have I outgrown my old narrative of me? Whatever comes up first, just don't overthink it. And if it's yes, it's time to fucking move. It's time to get into action. So it just doesn't fit. You might still be living it, but it feels like spiritual Spanx. Too tight, too tight. I mean, you can only wear Spanx for so long. Maybe it's like an extra small Spanx and you wear a medium. Too tight. All right. So this is the first sign. So the second one, your current life feels, I'm going to say the F word, fine. It's a 4-letter word. It starts with F. F-I-N-E. So your current life feels fine, but not fulfilling. This is, you're checking the boxes, you're doing the things, you're busy, and maybe things on the outside look great, but inside there maybe is a lack of contentedness and a lack of fulfillment, or you feel underwhelmed by or disconnected. That is your soul nudging you. You get to choose. So choose higher. So number 3 is don't pretend not to know. Once you've glimpsed your bigger vision, all of us know what lives inside of us of what we actually want. Whether a dream, you've found something that you've loved doing and you're like, you discount it because I can't get paid for that, whatever it is. You can't unknow what you already know. You can pretend not to know, but you can't unknow it. And so that knowing inside of you is your green light. Step in. This is your invitation today. If you needed a sign, this is your fucking sign. Here's a part that's really key is wanting a bigger life is not enough. This is your opportunity to clear all the things that have been in the way. There's a lot of common limiting beliefs that sabotage our growth, meaning they hold us back and we believe that they're true. Who am I to want more? I've heard that one a bazillion times. Well, a good Christian doesn't do this because they've heard that. So it fits into their story and finding evidence and justification. Not that there's anything wrong with Christianity. I'm with you. What I'm saying is that when we use it as evidence for the part of us that wants more, and then we say any religion, any excuse or justification that we're using to hold ourselves back, just notice that you're doing it to you. There's nobody, Jesus or anyone else, Abraham, no one's coming in and saying, don't you dare want more. Who's coming in to say that? You are. And you're using something outside of you to say, don't do that. And if that's your thing, then great. This podcast isn't probably for you then. So another one I hear a lot is if I go for it, I might lose what I have. Another one is I don't want, if I do that and I'm successful, I don't know if I want to work that hard. So right there, now you got a competing intention and the other one's the fear part's going to win. It's selfish to want more money. Who am I to drive a car like that? I don't know. I drive a really nice fucking car and I like driving a nice car. It feels great. I'm willing to spend the money on it. I'll be judged. That's a big one. But the judgment's coming from you of what you think other people are going to think about you. And the truth is they're going to think whatever they think. What matters is what you think about you and what you're doing with your life. And then a lot of people need a lot of planning and strategy before they take a leap. And I'll tell you the biggest things I've ever done, meaning like a quantum leap, right? In physics, it's called a quantum leap when you just leap, has been a soul line leap, not a goal line. And then the goal line showed up in some miracle way. And it's like, oh my gosh, how did that happen? You look back, you're like, I don't even know how all that happened, because you have faith and you double down on faith, which is Fantasy Island, not Dead Man's Island. As soon as you let go. So in the email that I wrote this week, if you're on my email list, and if not, you can sign up for it on my website, and I have a new newsletter out as well. It's like we want something ahead of us. So remember the monkey bars at school when you're in elementary school, and they go all the way across, I don't know, it's like whatever, 8 or 10 feet, right? But to get to you can hold 2 at once, but to get to the other one in front of your front hand, you got to let go of the back one and swing over there. It's why they call it a monkey bar. But what happens is that people are holding on to both, and they don't want to let go with the hand behind you so that you can move forward. So you just stay stuck. So for any of you that know what I'm talking about, it's a perfect analogy. It's like you can't hold the bar behind you if you want to grab the one in front of the one that's right. You got one right in front of you they're holding, and there's one in front of that, and there's one in front of that. The only way you get across is to always let go of the one behind you and keep moving forward. I love that analogy. So you don't need a plan. You just need to move forward. And I'm not saying don't have a plan. And don't have clarity. I love clarity. And you know how you even get more clear is you move. So I got this question from someone a long, long time ago. How do I know if it's a good move? you make a fucking move. Then you'll know. Once you're in motion, not overthinking, you will know what to do next. And when you don't know, you make another move, and you start figuring it out. Just like you figured out how to ride a bike, how you learn to walk, how you learn to do all kinds of things, how you learn to speak English or French or Spanish or whatever language. How do you learn? You make a move, and you're a beginner. And then over time, you gain expertise. And if it's your jam, then you gain mastery. I wouldn't be talking to you if I hadn't done that over and over and over. Getting over a heartbreak, falling in love again, becoming a coach, doing a podcast, doing all the things I've ever done, even that master's degree. I was so fucking scared when I walked in there because I knew it was experiential and I would have to deal with all my shit for 2 years in a deep, deep way. And I just kept stepping forward, even though I was scared out of my mind. And you know what I had? I had faith. And I had a lot of support, a lot of people around me in the program that were holding for me. So we need people like-minded in a community holding for us at a high level. And, once you're in motion, clarity starts to show up from action, not from overthinking. And so you don't need more signs. You don't need your mom's approval. It's just a decision. I'm done waiting. I'm done living a life that doesn't really feel like me anymore. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you or your life. It just means you're ready for a shift. You're ready to move into a bigger life. So, if you've been sitting and standing in the hallway, standing in the hallway, like I said, I did an episode on this liminal, this threshold, standing in that threshold between your current reality and your dream one. This is your invitation to step into the next room because you decide how long you're in that liminal middle space. You decide. Stepping forward, it might be the scariest thing you ever do, and it'll be the most fucking amazing thing you ever do. I'm here to share that with you big time. So, some action steps for this episode are, I would write down the version or the vision that you have for your life that you really are ready to step into, and just identify one pattern that no pretending not to know here, that is really having you play small. One. And then do one thing today, just one, or whenever you're listening to this, that aligns with the bigger life that you say you want. Just one thing. Make the call, post the thing, apply for something, make the move to say yes. Maybe it's saying no. Maybe it's saying no to things that really don't serve you anymore. And that's a list. Start making a list of that shit, that is keeping you playing small. Overdoing, over responsibility for people pleasing, perfectionism, fear around making a sales call. I coach entrepreneurs, and man, getting out of your own way and just doing the thing is so easy when you just start. You just get to start. So in the group, I want to share the success story of one of the ladies. We just finished our second month. And, there's a method to my 6-month madness of these groups because I know how to take people through a process over time to shift, do all the things so that you get results. And she's had her best month already ever in her business. And just people are cheering her on because it's a community of like-minded women supporting other women. That's what you need. You need people around you that support you in your life, in your business, in your ups and downs, in your challenges, when you're a hot mess and when you're fucking in your glory. You need people around you like that. So, and if you want a community like that, my Facebook group, and I've only done a few lives in there, and it's just ramping up right now. It's called Rita's Real Talk, and we deal with all things manifestation, meditations, money, all the fun things, relationships. So that is a women's group, and I will make sure that is in the show notes. And I just started a newsletter. The first episode came out last week. I absolutely loved doing it. It's super fun, and we do all things inspiration, style, lifestyle, obviously lots of mindset stuff, and it's just really cool. And then I bring resources in there of other just inspirations for you guys. We'll just wrap this up. If you don't move, guess what? The life that you want will not show up. It can't, because it requires you to move into it. So, I just know how beautiful life is, and nothing is going to happen for you unless you drive that. You're the driver. And thinking of the opportunities that are possible for you, they're limitless, they're endless. It's endless possibilities. And it shows up when you show up and not 1 minute before. And just know that, I say God is my co-pilot, and whoever that is for you, spiritually, energetically, is a good thing. We need meaty conversations. We need connection. We need love. We need fulfillment. We want connection. Above all else, humans need connection and fulfillment. Find people that you connect with in a like-minded community. They're not going to poo-poo on your dreams, that are going to say like, fucking go for it, man. Go get it, girl. So you're going to also see my Instagram change a little bit, because I'm really inspired to do more funny, but also like, what it means to choose good days, not just because right now it's a lot of just reels and clips from these episodes. And so really excited to bring all the new stuff to you. It's a big year for me to do lots of good stuff and scale, to do and share more things with more people. So if you haven't yet joined that Facebook group, hop in. I will put that in the show notes. And, if this episode hit home, I want to hear from you guys. DM me, tag me in your story. I love that. Super fun. And thanks for listening. Now, here's what I want. Here's my dream, is that you go out and live your dream. I love that, because then we're all lit up and transforming the consciousness of this planet together. So live bigger. When you're ready, you'll know. And if you think you're not, I'm going to tell you, you are. You just think you're not because you're scared. So I love you. Share this with someone you think that would really hit home for. I will see you next week. Be blessed, beautiful ones.